Raise your hand if you are afraid of the pain that comes along with childbirth. If this is you, you are like 80% of the other women on this planet, and so don't feel bad, but I don't want you to be there. I want you to be a part of the 20%, like myself, who does not actually fear the pain of childbirth and who actually experience the pain-free birth. If there was one thing I could tell a mama who is expecting, it would be that birth doesn't have to be excruciating. It doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to even be impossible. But unfortunately, society, our friends, the internet just tells us all these things about the pain of childbirth, and that causes us to be scared, rightfully so. I wish that more people had the tools and the knowledge and the skills to have a manageable and pain-free birth experience. In this video, I'm going to walk through how to overcome your fear of the pain of childbirth and give you some real tips. Not the things that actually aren't going to work for you, but real tips that you can use in your pregnancy to overcome some of your fears and actually have some practical things to do in labor so that you can be comfortable and not be afraid of the pain that comes along with childbirth, because it doesn't happen for all of us. Hey mama, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel for the first time. I am a doula, mama of 3, childbirth educator, and lover of all things birth. On this channel, we talk about birth, pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood, and how we can do those things in the ways that work best for our families. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you know when all of my videos are coming out. I do post a video every single week, so stay up to date so that you can stay educated for your birth and for your postpartum journey. Okay, like I said before, the fear of pain in childbirth is very common, very understandable, very normal, because again, we are inundated with so much information on the internet, and then of course we have the people in our circles, in our communities, that want to just run to us when they realize that we're pregnant and tell us all of the really wonderful horror stories that they experienced when it came to their birth. It's not a bad thing that somebody wants to come tell you about their birth, that they want to relate to you in this season of your life. But if it is not positive, it's going to create some level of fear. And one of the things that I see with a lot of my clients is that when we start to dig into their fears of birth, many of their fears are not their fears. They are fears that have been pushed on them from the people around them. So they create fears within these new moms because of their experiences. And now us as new moms, as first-time mamas, we start to take on those fears for ourselves in something that we've actually never even experienced. So the fears, not to say that they're not real, but they're not ours. We are just carrying them around. One of the things I like to do with my clients is we go through a fear clearing exercise where mama and partner actually go through what are their real fears, where are they coming from, and how do we work through those so we can become educated about those fears. The first thing that you need to do when it comes to overcoming some of these fears of pain or even what could happen in childbirth is to become educated. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. Knowledge is power. And if you don't have knowledge, you don't have much. And I also want to put a little asterisk here that knowledge is not saving a bunch of things on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It is using the tools that you're receiving and practicing them and making sure that that knowledge and education is coming from an evidence-based perspective that aligns with your belief system, because there is a ton of information even here on YouTube that you can get with all the how-tos and the tips on overcoming fear or even how to have a comfortable natural birth. But if you don't actually practice those things now and get at the core or the root of where your fears are coming from, all of that stuff is going to go out of the window. All of the tips and the tools are going to be useless because your mind is going to go back to this fearful place. If you have not seen my fear, tension, pain cycle video, I will link it here. But what it basically says is that our fears will lead to our bodies experiencing tension, and that tension leads us to feeling more pain. So the first thing we have to do is we have to educate ourselves around what we're fearful of. And when we can do that, we can understand how much power we are giving this particular fear, and if we have any control over that fear and what we can do about it. Because when your body starts to see something familiar that reminds you of something you're fearful of, it naturally is going to get more tense. And when your body gets more tense, it's going to experience more pain. That's why people who get in car accidents, who grip the steering wheel because they see it coming and they're trying to brace themselves, they tend to feel a lot more pain afterwards. They tend to get more injured afterwards, because getting hit when your muscles are this tight, it's never going to go well. Versus you being fluid and loose and relaxed, which is why a lot of people who get in car accidents who didn't even know they were coming tend to walk away from the accident mostly unharmed. They didn't have that tension that caused the impact, which caused more pain. They were more fluid and their body went with what was going on in their bodies. The moral of the story here is that you need to get educated. You need to understand your fears and you need to educate yourself on those fears. And I walk my clients and all of the people who I'm able to educate in birth on this one thing, because it's the most important thing that you can do when it comes to pain. And I know it doesn't seem connected, but again, when you understand how fear and what happens in your mind actually correlates with the amount of physical pain you experience, you will do this work first, because being in the shower is only going to do so much for you in birth, because that hydrotherapy is only going to last you so long until your brain is like, I'm still hurting. So working through those fears is extremely important. And the number one tip that I will give you when it comes to overcoming some of those fears and leading yourself to a more comfortable birth. Number 2, practice relaxation techniques. If you're anything like me, relaxing is not a normal part of my daily routine. I like to go, go, go. I like to be in a schedule, going from thing to thing, and there's not a lot of time for me to just sit and be still. When you can start to practice relaxation techniques, especially in moments of stress during your pregnancy, it will become a lot easier to remain calm and relaxed during your labor. And that is the key to having a comfortable and quick labor. The more things that you can do, like breathing exercises. I have a breathing video here that you can look through and understand how to practice some of those labor breathing techniques during stressful moments in your pregnancy, so that you can do that easily under stressful moments in labor. The other thing is meditation and prayer. If you are not into meditating, I totally understand, but I think it's really a good practice to try to get into during your pregnancy. There are a ton of apps on the market, Christian hypnobirthing, other hypnobirthing tracks that you can get into. When you can understand how to get your mind into a place of peace, it will allow you to tap into that much more easily in labor. And if you're giving birth in a hospital, you need to really practice this, because there's going to be so much noise around you that you're going to need to zone out of that and zone in to your peaceful place and to your birth zone. So learning and understanding how to use hypnobirthing, meditation, be in prayer, talk to the Lord during your pregnancy and stressful moments. Tune in with the Lord in your labor. That is literally what got me through my second birth experience, is when I tuned in and talked to God and heard his voice. My labor happened very quickly after that. Up until that point, I was in my head. Realizing that these relaxation techniques are key to relieving yourself from pain. Pain comes from here many of the times. So if you can get this piece under control, like I said before, you got the education, now let's practice the techniques. And I go through a lot of these techniques in my course, but if you can at least get one of them, you will be putting yourself in a much better situation. Number 3 is creating and forming a solid birth team. And I don't care if you and your partner want to do this by yourselves, you can still have a birth team. That means your provider needs to be on the same page with you about what you desire. You should have somebody who's educating you, who's a professional, who you can go to and ask questions, because the reality is you're not going to get all your questions answered in a 15-minute appointment once a month. You need to have people around you, and that can also include friends, but people who are going to be on your team. If the energy that they're bringing you is negative and not uplifting and getting you closer to your goal, they don't deserve to be on your team. Understanding that creating a Supportive birth team and environment is key. That means the people who you're talking to, the people who are educating you. I'm sorry to tell you, but following a bunch of doulas on Instagram and YouTube is only going to get you 50% of the way, because you're going to have questions, especially as a first-time mama, and you need people who can help you have some peace of mind. And sometimes we have friends that can do that, but sometimes we don't. And it's also okay to say, I want this to be an intimate experience between my partner and I, but I also need somebody who can guide us and walk us through that journey. And that's literally what I've been able to do for many of my clients who don't even live in the same city as me. Not only that, you need to create an environment in your home. If you want to have a comfortable birth, laboring at home as long as possible is so important, and your space should reflect peace. It should reflect comfort, and it should reflect something that makes you feel safe. So whatever you're doing in your home, even if you're giving birth at the hospital, try to create a space in your home that feels comfortable. And then take some of those things with you to the hospital so you can create that safe space that will help your body cope with the pain. Tip number 4 is understand comfort measures. There are so many different tools that we can use out there, but I would highly encourage you and your partner practicing comfort measures for yourselves in your pregnancy so that you can tap into those during your birth experience. I have another video linked on comfort measures that you can watch, and it goes through all the different things that you can do to keep yourself comfortable. But again, your body will follow your brain. So you can save all of those videos and save all the tips and write them down, and you need them. But if you don't do the things that we're talking about in this video first, they're not going to work. They're not going to be that effective for you. So yes, using hydrotherapy is wonderful. Hip squeezes, wonderful. Doing some of the things with the TENS unit, wonderful. Squeezing a comb, wonderful. But if your brain is not in the right place, your body is going to respond to that. It's not actually going to feel comfort from the comfort measures. So understand comfort measures, but also realize that those go along with your body. And lastly, number 5, use affirmations. Affirmations are so powerful because they remind us of what we're capable of. And as a believer, one of the things that I talk to my clients about, and that was really helpful for me, is not only creating my own affirmations to remind myself and allow my birth team to read to me throughout labor, but also what does Scripture say about me? Scripture says that in your weakest moments, God is there to create and give you strength. And that is where He will meet you. He will meet you in your deepest, darkest moments and in your weakest moments. And so when you remind yourself that you're not doing this alone, but also that you're capable of doing it, it gives you a completely different perspective on pain. I can do hard things. That is one of the most powerful affirmations that you can tell yourself, because you've done hard things before and you don't have to do hard things alone. God is with you in this journey, and He will hold your hand and bring you comfort in His supernatural strength throughout this entire journey. So I encourage you, write down a list of affirmations, put them on your mirror, print them out, hang them up during your birth so that you can read them and remind yourself when you're feeling pain that I am not alone. I am made for this. I am strong. I can do anything for 1 minute. God will find me in my weakness. All I have to do is call out for Him. Whatever that looks like, I encourage you to get into the Word. Get into whatever thing is going to encourage you and keep you affirmed in this entire birth experience, because pain does not have power over you. And while you are afraid of this thing that is so unknown, you're giving it possibly way more power than you think. Some people will come to me and say, my pain tolerance is so low. How am I going to have a natural birth? The pain that you experience when you break a bone is not the same kind of pain you're going to experience when you understand what comes on the other side of the physical aspects of birth. You are birthing a child. You are birthing a disciple. You are birthing a vessel who's going to change the world. And that is powerful. And so when we can start to see our pain as power, we feel it and we experience it a lot differently. When you break a bone, feel yourself feeling powerful about breaking your bone. No, that hurts. That hurts really bad. So no, it's not the exact same thing. But if you can get into that mindset for the purpose behind what you're doing, it becomes a completely different experience and fear goes out of the window. Now, again, overcoming your fear in childbirth is a journey that is going to require time, education, support, and a positive mindset. But if you can work on those things now, I guarantee you they will pay off for you when the big day comes. If you want to learn more techniques on how to overcome your fear, have a support in the journey, and then get some really practical tips and techniques for you and your partner to feel supported throughout this entire experience, I have linked my Work Your Birth course down below where you will have coaching one-on-one with me to walk you through getting to that birthday and having the most amazing and empowering experience that you deserve. I hope this video was helpful. Make sure to save it and rewatch it as many times as you need to get yourself closer to becoming fearless and empowered for your birth. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the thumbs up button. That gives me an opportunity to connect with more mamas who need this information just the same way that you do. Acknowledging our fears and concerns is one of the first ways that we can overcome them. So drop your fears in the comments below and read through the other fears that mamas are experiencing. And if we can do this thing together, you will not feel like you have to do it alone. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all on the next video.